History of Accidents MC by MaceWriter777. And yes, I will be recording everything in Google Slides. Thank you for asking. Era 1. The beginning. Shortly after the fall of my last server, which didn't actually go up in flames, people just left, I then spent about a week looking for another server to play on. And that is whenever I stumbled upon Accidents MC. And then I met this guy who was the owner of the server. His name was Creeper. Oh man. And then he gave me some money, and with that money, I bought a pickaxe. And then I met a man who is not important to the story because he immediately left the server. But me and him built a little town together, which was immediately destroyed by my weird hacker friend Sir Sullivan. But me and the admins were able to put it back together. And then some guy whose dirt shack I didn't like decided to destroy it again. But we rebuilt it. But I didn't like how unsafe the area was, so I decided to leave and build the netherite cube with obsidian on the inside and netherite on the outside because I had nothing else. I then met a man named Gold, who gave me money because we were friends. And I used this money to make a shulker farm. And atop of the shulker farm, I placed a statue of everyone's favorite communist hero, Bill the Snake. But who was Bill the Snake? For that, we're going to have to do a history lesson. 1943, Battle of Stalingrad. Bill was a commanding officer during the Battle of Stalingrad. His men, and himself, were one of the major forces driving the Nazis out of Stalingrad. Joseph Stalin personally gave Bill the Snake the Hero of the Soviet Union Award for his bravery in combat. But shortly after the ceremony, a man going by the name of Jester violently ripped apart Bill using his teeth. He then flung him into oncoming traffic, where he died. It is still unknown if the assailant was with Jester, or was an innocent bystander caught up in the action. Anyway, rest in peace, Bill, but shortly after I built the statue, Creeper gave me mod. So then, with my mod powers, I celebrated with gold, and built a bridge, and bed wars, and a little trap for new players. Those are cauldrons. But I tried to kill a spawn camper, and then that's whenever I had to quit, because I was going to get my stuff taken away, so I'd rather quit than be demoted. And then I never got hired again. Shortly after this, I was hanging out with Gold whenever I accidentally TP'd Creeper to his base, and then they started fighting. And then he had to go move and built a little base out on the ice. And then a new member joined. His name was Tech Genius. And then Gold got mostly done with his little tower. And then I accidentally TP'd Creeper again. And you might be thinking to yourself, how did you exactly teleport him by accident twice? And my answer to that is I have no idea. And then Gold jumped into the void. But he gave me all of his money, which was pretty nice, just wish I had gold around. And now that Gold is gone, we can begin the golden years. In Era 2. To begin the golden era, I had wasted all my money and I had felt kinda wronged by everyone because I kept dying to admins, and I thought it was admin abuse, so I decided to make this little contraption here that basically you push this little minecart, it goes over here, then it comes back, and then you get like 500 more of these, and then you keep pushing them. But I only had like 30 of these, so I really couldn't do that much. And we all kind of laughed off the fact that I tried to crash the server. And coincidentally, right next to that abomination of a server crasher, Tech Genius made a little house. And also, I had no money anymore. And so, to solve my problem, I made this little contraption here. Now, I just realized how I can't record my mouse right now, so the little purple box in the bottom left-hand corner, underneath that is a brown box. And this brown box, what it did was, inside, it would spawn shulkers. That's what the purple thing is. And I would remove slabs at the top of the box so they would spawn there. I would then push these guys in minecarts, just follow the first red arrow, then they would go up here, then to the second red arrow, then to the third red arrow, where they would go on this little pillar. And then I would just kind of break the blocks here, but whenever they went up this little ramp, and they would fall right here on the last purple box, then a minecart would pick them up, and it would go through this entire circuit right here. Which I didn't draw, because I'm kind of on a time crunch right now. I really gotta finish this thing. Now you might be thinking, why is this called the Golden Years, even though it's been terrible so far? Well, to answer that question, Tech made himself a new house, and I asked to move in. And this guy joined. His name is Nicodemus, or just Nick for short. And he's a German, by the way. Anyway, Tech and Nick, they were pretty close friends. And I decided I was going to move in next to Tech. So, me and Nick cleared off this little mountain, and then I put a castle atop it. And Tech blew up his own house to move into my castle. And things were going pretty good at this point. We had Tech, me, and two new guys. One's name was Jake Snake. That's the guy all the way on the right. And the guy in the middle is Stone Arrow, named for, or drawn, because it's kind of obvious. And there was also another stone, who I got my stone from to build my castle. And I also called him Stone, so sometimes that got confusing. And one day, I got Stone to build a piglin farm for me, and then Stone Arrow and Stone kind of got mad at each other. So, we kind of started a war, and they destroyed my castle. And I also put a mansion in the middle of the castle, which that made it hurt even more. And because the castle was no place to live anymore, and it was compromised, I decided to move out into the middle of nowhere, and I took a page out of their book and made a giant sky limit tower made using lava casting, with some help from Nick, the German. Also, this is not important to anything at all. I just had to show it off because I put so much time into it. What you're seeing here, at the bottom right-hand corner, is a lever that powers an electric switch that powers the lights inside the tower. That was my crowning achievement of this building, to be honest. So much work was put into it. Like 4 floors, all hooked up with wiring. Very nice. Era 3. The Drugged Ages. To begin the drugged eras, Creeper Carl immediately threw the shop into a metaphorical bucket of lava. But he introduced custom enchants. And then Tech convinced me that they were all free. So, I spent all my money on them, and I left the server. And while I was gone, Tech had joined a group called Krakistan, featuring members such as Sith, Dante, and Stone Arrow, and a place they called the Shaco Drugs, on a place called Candyland, a little mushroom island in the middle of nowhere. And I built them a KFC. But I was not happy with this arrangement, because I wasn't the king anymore. And I had heard rumors that they were planning to attack Nick's home, a place called Germany. Now let me give you a little history lesson in Germany. This is Germany. Its capital is Berlin. Its population is 83.2 mil... Wait, this is the wrong slide. No, this is Germany, featuring members such as that creeper guy from earlier, Creeper Carl, and Nick, and another guy that I've forgotten. And then we blew up the Shaco drugs and killed Dante. And for this, I was sent to an island where Dante beat me severely. I also built this little watchtower. And during this time, we got 2 new members. Steve, the little black orb, and Muddy, the little mud bug. But that doesn't really matter right now because Stone is picking fights with everyone. And no longer is the base safe because he's betrayed them. And I'm finally allowed to leave the island. And I help them start making their new base with Steve. And then Muddy's friend starts saying very bad things about Nick. So then me and Nick, we blow up their base. And then Steve starts speaking in a very weird language. The tension rose very high. And then the final war, broke out. It was me, which I'm dead on the ground in this image, Nick, Stone, a guy named Show who I forgot to put in the rest of the video, and Creeper, and also Steve on our side. Everyone else is against us. And we win the war, and Creeper blows up the server. The end. Goodbye.